Hello everyone, welcome to the channel, the HC Publisher. I'm Holly. This is a place where we get to explore book writing with a twist, incorporating higher conscious principles into the creative process. So if you're an author, a writer, or an aspiring storyteller, grab your favorite drink, your notebooks, some candles, incense, and let's dive in. Today we're going to be talking about two extremely important aspects of writing: characterization and setting, going beyond just the plot. These are critical if you want your book to be developed in a way that grabs the reader's attention and also allows the flow to be seamless from chapter to chapter, book to book. As we do this, we're going to be taking a higher conscious approach to digging into the setting as well as creating the characterization. We're going to start with characters today. Don't forget to like, follow, share so that you will get more content in the community tab when it's uploaded, as well as the next video in the series. Before I even write a single word of the story, I go ahead and create what I call a character web on paper. And this is where you put details about each of the two main characters before you begin writing. And usually you're going to include basics like your age, the gender, and what life was like when they grew up, a few personality traits. But you also really want to dive deeper into small nuances about their life. For instance, whether they drink coffee or tea every day. What are those habits that are going to make them come alive to the reader? For the book I'm currently working on, there's two characters, Elisa and Mikkel. So I start with the two main characters and I begin mapping them out on paper. I start with what I call my character web. It's a visual map of everything I want to know about my characters. And I'm not just talking about their names or their hair color. Oh no, this is where we get deep. While I'm thinking and coming up with ideas, this is where the higher conscious creativity practices come in. I like to doodle or draw during this process whenever I get stuck. Letting my hand flow freely helps me connect to that creative energy, whether it's simple shapes or random sketches. I'm able to stay and flow better and the ideas start pouring out. So here's what it looks like. I generally start with those two characters. And for most of the fiction stories, there's always a protagonist, girl character, female character, and then another secondary character to that protagonist. So here is Elisa, and then I have Mikkel. Elisa, she's 25 years old, female. I put basics about her physical attributes, that she's 5'8", olive complexion, athletic build. But then I went on and decided that she drinks tea every morning and listens to music. And I really have that visual in my mind of what she looks like. Even though this is just the character web, I do like to show the connection between characters on here as well, including how they meet or their interactions. Now let's talk about setting. This is just as important as the characters themselves. I mean, it's what really shapes who they are, what they're like, and what their life has been like, as well as what is going to happen in the story. Every event or action of the characters is based around the setting. So it's really important that we make it accurate, as well as we put details in that are going to drive the plot along into the action that is necessary to bring it towards the rising action and the climax. That it all fits together well so that our story flows and is engaging for the reader. I start by choosing the location first, and I get inspiration from my own life as well as looking at maps and magazines, looking online, and sometimes it might be a small quiet town or a bustling city. And what I do then is I go in and I research and get information about the place. If I've been there, I put things that I remember specific or unique to that location. For instance, if my setting is going to be Florida, I'm going to recall my own trips to Florida, including the different markets I went to, what they looked like, what it felt like, what it sounded like, really paying attention to our five senses and trying to bring in that heightened awareness and the higher consciousness into the writing so that as we build our world, it feels real to the reader. Of course, I always put it on paper first. So this is what I do. I want the setting to feel real, so I dig into the details. Once I pick the location, I start creating a setting guide. I'll make notes of the climate, the landmarks, the vibe of the place. But here's where it gets fun. I'll also look at how this place affects the people living there. Is the weather cold, making people more reserved, or is the city lively and warm, making people feel more open and social? For this story, the setting is between two cities in Michigan, Ann Arbor and Detroit. I think back to my own personal experiences here, like eating out at restaurants, what the city looks like during the night and day. Then I'll go online and do some more research to pull in anything I think will be relevant to the actual plot. Now, here's where it all comes together. Once I've mapped out the basics of my characters and setting on paper, I move it all into my electronic notes on Readsy. I'll keep all the characters and setting details in a place where I can easily access them while I write. As I continue to write more, I'll add different layers and details that might have come to me in the very moment. For example, with Elisa, I know that she drinks tea every morning. I might add in that she listens to her favorite song. Then I'll be able to add that small detail to their character web because it's something that will stay with her throughout the entire story or series. Later, when it comes time to write, I want to make sure I remember those small quirks, even in different settings or situations along the plot. It's all about creating depth and consistency. When your characters feel real and your setting feels authentic, your readers will be transported into that world you've created. They'll feel like they're living right alongside your characters, sharing their same emotions, their struggles, and their dreams. Here's a look at Readsy itself, where you can add notes and put the information from the character web. I also, like I mentioned in the previous video, sometimes hang up notes. My character web is one of the pages I still keep on the wall in front of me when I'm writing, so I can just quickly look up at it, as well as the setting notes. So that's another tip that I would encourage you to use, but you don't have to. That's all for today's video. I hope you gained some new tools or ideas for how to stay in flow during writing and creating those in-depth characters and settings. And if you liked the video, please hit the like button below. Don't forget to follow and share with other fellow authors so that we can all get ideas from each other. I'd also love to hear from you. What do you do to write your book? How do you develop your characters and settings? Please drop a comment below and share your ideas.